Webinar today, Let's Grow. Andrew has done a great job of growing business. He's got beautiful grass, great customer service, and he's standing out from the crowd and has over 1,500 customers, all before the age of 30. So he's accomplished a lot and jumped around. Chris has helped him there, and is going to help answer some of the questions today. The agenda, we're going to start with some interview questions, and at the end we'll have some Q&A time, and then there'll be some audience polls throughout as well. Got a picture here of Andrew and myself, just so you kind of have an idea of what we look like. It's always nice to have a visual. Webinar semantics, if you have any questions, feel free to use your webinar tool there and enter any questions. And then we're going to go on from there. So just a quick, before we get started with Go Green, we're going to just a quick overview of what is Holganix. Holganix is a probiotic for soil and plant wellness. And essentially it's balancing the ecosystem and allowing the plant to have a better chance at survival. It's a stronger plant and then can defend itself against some of the seasonal and human stresses that we put on the turf. Some key ingredients include, it starts with a compost tea base, which gives it a lot of living biology and a living base that really helps with that balancing of the ecosystem. Then we layer in a lot of different organic ingredients that include endo and ectomycorrhizae that is great for roots. Many people use this product in different ways, but by layering it in, you just get amazing root depth, and Go Green is going to talk a little bit about their experience with roots as well. And then there's beneficial fungi and bacteria. Again, you want that balanced ecosystem, so you want a little bit of the good and a little bit of the bad to really balance out. There's lots of different ingredients. Yucca is another one you can see down there. We've got polysaccharides and yucca and amino acids, fulvic acids, lignin polymers. So lots of different things are there then layered into the product to give you a really round probiotic for the soil. So let's go ahead and get started, and let's start with a question for Andrew. So Andrew, tell us about how you started your business, when you started it, why you started it, all the good stuff about the beginning days.
I started my business back when I was 15 years old in 2001, and started out cutting grass as something to do and a way to make money. And today it's grown into Andrew's Lawn and Landscaping and our other division, Go Green Lawn Services, which we started 5 years ago. That's when we started doing fertilizer, and that's also when we started using Holganix too, the year after we started, and things have just continued to grow ever since then.
Great. So tell us a little more about the growth. What kind of growth have you achieved, when, how? Give us a little bit of the details.
The first year we did in 2010 when we started doing fertilizer, it wasn't a big push, and then in the second year we picked up Holganix, and we really started to push it and market it, and we had almost 200% growth that year from marketing, and the customers were happy with it, so we attained a lot of those customers, and we've continued to grow every year since then.
Awesome. We're going to get into how and why here in a minute. So when we talk to a lot of different companies in the industry, they talk about a lot of different hurdles. Some of the hurdles include employees, marketing, results with different products, and getting the money to invest in all of the above. Because as you're building the business, a lot of times it's the chicken and the egg, which comes first. So do you have the money, the employees, the marketing, the customer service? How to really balance all of that. So let's start taking those and pick these apart, and start with employees. So why don't you tell us any hurdles that you've overcome with employees and things like that?
Well, employees is always the hardest part, and if we could all find perfect employees, we'd be much further along than we were today. But that's the biggest problem, and it's one we're facing every day, trying to find reliable people and people who can do a good job out there in the field, and also people who can talk to the customers in the office and make sure they're happy. And that's why we have Chris here, and he's going to go over some of the other hurdles we have.
So let's talk about marketing. Give us a little bit, I think Chris is going to answer this one. Tell us a little bit about your marketing and some hurdles that you've had there.
So as far as marketing goes, the biggest hurdle is getting your name out there, basically. And what we feel has been the best tool to use is, there's a couple different tools that we've used to get that word out there. We have a couple things. We wrap all our trucks in vinyl wrap, which helps tremendously getting our name and our word out and getting us out there. We also have bright, colorful lawn signs, which I think really help, especially when people are driving through neighborhoods and such.
We're going to go through some of these other ones too, but are there any specific hurdles, marketing-wise?
The biggest hurdle that we have seen is the stigma of the pesticides and herbicides that people are putting down on the lawns. The Scotts, the True Greens, the lawn doctors of the world. There's a huge stigma of how much of pesticides, herbicides, phosphates, nitrates are going into the water systems and things like that. And using Holganix has allowed us to cross that hurdle or jump that hurdle pretty easily. And it's a market that we've captured, and we're glad that we have captured that market.
Good. And results. So results as far as different products, different things you've seen, hurdles in maybe your program and tweaking your program.
Well, I think over the last couple of years, I think we've all, me and Andrew, have both tried to tweak our programs from how many times do we want to visit a customer to what products we want to put down to control weeds, to control fungus, to control insect control, things like that. So I think that with Holganix help, we've done a good job of finding the correct products that work well with Holganix, and therefore we're able to create a stronger, healthier lawn. Holganix has really helped us with me personally being in this industry for over 10 years. This helps us. I can personally see the difference between a Holganix fertilizer and a synthetic fertilizer. I believe the root density is stronger. The grass seems to almost spread faster, if that makes sense, to cover more area, and I think that's helped a lot in what we've done.
Awesome. And jumping back to Andrew here, money to invest in all of this is, you know, as you've grown, you've tell us about how you've invested the money, and was it a big push, or was it a slower push with money, or?
We're always spending a lot of money, and mostly on marketing. Most years it's 10 to 20%, and for the most part it pays off. But really, just being there and supporting your customers and doing a good job, you're not going to keep the customers. So we really, we do a lot of marketing, but we try and really keep the customer happy and do a good job, or we're not going to have the customer for even a whole year.
All right, so you just mentioned, Andrew, a little bit on customer service. I think if we jump back to Chris, Andrew always says his customer service is a really important piece of Go Green. So tell us about the customer service and why that's such an important piece.
Well, when I started working when I was young, I started in the restaurant business. So customer service was kind of inbred in what I do. But I've learned a lot over the years working in the restaurant business and now into the lawn care business. We used to have a saying that we're a yes restaurant, and I've kind of brought that to Go Green, where we're a yes company. So if a customer calls and has a complaint or wants to see a technician, we say yes. Or a customer needs some areas seeded or whatever, we always say yes. And if you say yes and you do a good job at it, you'll retain those customers from year to year, because they truly appreciate the effort and you getting out there, or you saying yes and not giving them a hard time to resolve the issue at hand. A couple other things that I noticed is communication with the customers. I think is probably the most important part. In our side, our Go Green, we send out a call ahead notice to every one of our customers, and it's something we started this year because I noticed that in this organic realm, you tend to have a lot of customers that are very customers that want a lot of attention, and so therefore calling everyone and letting them know when we're going to come out has helped us a great deal. Now, of course, there's going to be drawbacks because your technician can't get to a lawn, or equipment fails, or something like that happens. But I've seen a better result calling all the customers than not calling them at all. There's a couple other things. Technicians are very important as far as customer service goes. If you don't have the right technicians in place, then you're not going to have a successful business, I believe, because the technicians are the people that are talking face to face with the customers. They have the interaction, and if my technicians, I require all my technicians to have good communications with the customers, i.e., calling them back if they're not able to get to the lawn, or giving them advance notice, a 20-minute advance notice because they have dogs or they have children or anything of those things, or even weeds, to communicate to a customer, hey, Mr. Jones, I saw that you had a lot of this specific type of weed in your yard. This is how we're going to approach it. This is how we're going to take care of it, and this is what you can expect. Another thing is answering the phones. I know that sounds very basic and rudimentary, but answering the phone, I feel as if when the customer calls, they want to talk to somebody when they call. Getting back to them the next day, the next hour is usually not acceptable, because most people are calling us during the day on their lunch break or their morning break or their afternoon break. And so if you don't get back to them immediately, it tends to lead to poor communication. And that's why I stress, and Andrew stresses also, to always have someone in the office answering the phone and making sure we're staying up on messages and phone calls.
Awesome. You made me think in the beginning. We have a saying here: yes is the answer. Now, what is the question? Never say no.
Never say no.
All right. So you started talking earlier about all the marketing tools. I know you guys, really are looking at a lot of different tools that you guys use out there. I think there were 18 plus different marketing tools that you guys are monitoring. So tell us about some of your marketing tools and which ones have been the most effective.
Well, like I said before, I believe the most effective thing, well, there's two things I think that are very effective. One is our trucks themselves. Like I said, they're all wrapped in vinyl with our logo all over them. We have a big horse on the back of one of them. We have, things like that. Our lawn signs, I think, are great because they're bold, they're out there, they have our name on them, they have our number on them. They're not just a little white thing that says an application has been made. They have our name, our number. And, you can't go, Angie's List has been a pretty good tool, Clipper Magazine. Every Door Direct Mail has been the other, I believe, winner in our book. When we do Every Door Direct Mail, we always put a coupon on the Every Door Direct Mail. And the reason why we put a coupon is you want to get the phone call in. You want to get a lead. And a lot of people, most people, are looking for coupons and ways to save money. So that's why we love using coupons in our Every Door Direct Mail. Of course, we do Valpak. Of course, we have a website. Our website has been upgraded over the last couple of years and has done some really good things for us. When people are searching for your business and they click on your website and you have a good website, easy to maneuver, things like that, it shows on your business and how reliable you can be. The other thing for sales is that using Holganix, we were able to capture a market that was seemingly untapped before. The organic lawn care industry is fairly new, and I think that with the stigma that Scott's Lawn or Scott's True Green, things like that have, that we've done a really good job of using Holganix and their marketing tools to really improve our customer base.
Great. That really gives me a great segment into the next piece, which is, what part did Holganix play in your growth? So tell me a little bit about, how many, when people call in for sales, do you talk about Holganix?
Yes, all of our sales guys have a pitch, and Holganix is the main piece in that pitch. We talk about how it's for us it's an all liquid application, which benefits us a lot. A lot of people like the all liquid. Obviously, Holganix offers a whole bunch of different products, whether you want to go liquid or granular, whichever you'd like to do. But the main thing that we do with our pitch is to say that we're not here just to put a steroid into your lawn, get a huge growth spurt, everything's green, it looks great, and then within a couple weeks or a couple months it dies off and it's not as strong. With the Holganix product, we're able to pitch that we're actually fixing your soil. So it's creating a better ecosystem underneath the ground, which allows airflow, fertilizers, even weed suppressions to reach where they need to reach, and it's really helped us with the grass and how it looks and how dense, and dense grass is the best defense against weeds.
Awesome. And Andrew, maybe you can talk about some of the ways that there's been some mentoring and support and marketing support.
Well, whenever we need anything from Holganix or from, like, in the way of field support, like if we have a problem in the field, they come out, they help us, they come to our office, we have phone support with them, and they've helped us design some of our marketing pieces. So along the way, there's been a lot of help from them as a company on the back end and also on the front end. If the marketing doesn't, we send out the marketing and we get the customer, but then if there's a problem with the lawn, Holganix is there to help us and mentor us and get us through a solution to solve that issue.
Awesome. And I know you really have differentiated your business with, your trucks and the horses and your wraps. Has Holganix differentiated your business, would you say, and in what way?
I think that's the main difference. Like, that's how we differentiate ourselves from everyone else. Like, we use Holganix, and we are an organic fertilizer company where most of the other companies around us are not, and that's where we get the majority of our customers, because they call us for that reason.
Awesome. And Chris, what of the people that call in, 100% of the people that call in, everybody gets the Holganix pitch per se. How many of them do you think that really puts them over the edge to buy from you guys?
I'd say if I had to guess a number, I'd say around 40%. We get a lot of phone calls because we use Holganix and because Holganix is out on the internet and it is so available to do research on Holganix. We have a lot of customers that either are on the hypersensitive registry or are very concerned about what we're putting down in the environment. And using Holganix has allowed us to cater to those customers, and it's been really successful for us.
Awesome. I'm not sure who wants to answer this one, but what results have you seen using Holganix?
Go for it, Chris.
So what the biggest difference, like I said before, I believe, is the actual root density and the thickness of the lawn. When I used to work for a previous lawn service company, we won't say any names, you would notice in the middle of the summer that the amount of fertilizer that we were putting down on lawns were actually hurting the lawns more than helping them. Holganix allows us to use the right amount, but also allows us to get the product where we need to get it. How can I put this? So in turn, throughout the year, in the beginning of the year when we're putting down the Holganix, we have better root density, root strength, and then allows us to get through the summer months with a greener, healthier lawn.
Awesome. So I'm just hesitating here for a second. I'm going to jump a little bit through our presentation because you've answered a couple of these questions through other ones. So our next question was, what benefits have you seen from offering an organic product? I think we've answered that. And then we talked about what makes Go Green remarkable. We've really covered that. So jumping ahead a little bit, you know, Holganix, you talked about us having granular and liquid. Granular is you know, in a bag and has no shelf life, and is an awesome product. The liquid product has to be refrigerated to keep the living biology in a dormant state. So a lot of people look at us like we have 10 heads when we talk about refrigerating, you know, a fertilizing product. So tell us about your experience with the refrigeration and how you feel about that.
To be honest, nothing but good. I really have had no problems. Whenever I have had a problem, Holganix has come right out and repaired it or fixed whatever the issue was. But like I said, it's few and far between. It's not a space issue at all. The system that they have set up is very simple. I can pump it right into my mixing bowl with a gauge that, you know, counts how many gallons I'm putting in the mixing bowl. So I haven't noticed any difference in using a refrigerator product contrary to a granular or contrary to a liquid form of fertilizer. The space is just as much as you would be using as a liquid fertilizer or a granular. With a granular fertilizer, you need a lot more space to hold what the amount you need for services.
Great. So I think that's all we have for today. We thank you so much for coming in. We actually have Andrew and Chris here in the office, so it was nice getting to have them right here and be able to have this conversation with them and ask questions. And we thank you so much for the time today. For all participants, thank you for calling in today, and have a great day. We hope to talk to you soon.